Expedition duffel bags. We're going to look at the Camp 4 duffel, the base camp duffel by North Face. Camp 4 duffel is by Mountain Hardwear. And then the Rab 120-liter Kitbag duffel. All these are expedition duffels that are water resistant, that are meant to be carried on mules or by porters for mountain expeditions. That's how I've been using them. But you could just use them just to travel around. The first one that I tried was the Camp 4 duffel. I think this is an excellent duffel. I think its build quality is a lot better than both the North Face base camp duffel, the red one here, or this maroon Rab Kitbag 120-liter expedition duffel. The only reason why I'm not using this, so I took one of these up to Kilimanjaro. It was on the back of a porter, and I can't tell you which one it was because they're in such great shape. And I was planning on using them both for Aconcagua, which this is part 7 of the Aconcagua kit series. But I could not, they were not big enough because I have a lot of big bulky gear. My boots are big. I've got a synthetic bag which is big because I'm allergic to down. And then just I have to have a tent because I'm doing my own expedition. I'm not on a guided expedition. So I just needed a little bit more space, and the 120-liter duffel and the 132-liter extra large duffel made a lot more sense in terms of allowing me to put everything I needed for the expedition in. But you can get, I think the Mountain Hardwear, I think you can get it in 130-liter size. So this is a 95-liter. So on Kilimanjaro, they required a 90-liter. My guiding company, you have to have a guide on Kilimanjaro. My guiding company required a 90-liter duffel, and I gave them 95. I wasn't anywhere, I think it was like a 15-kilogram limit, whereas really the limits here are the baggage limits, so I just don't have oversized bag limits. So, but I think, you know, if you get one mule on Aconcagua, it's 60 liters. So you could even put more weight into 2 of these things, and conceivably, I guess you could get a 3rd bag and put that on the mule too if you wanted to. But you know, everything you carry above base camp, you either have to pay for a porter for, or you're going to carry it yourself. So that's another limiting factor. But you know, for me, so I would say that what's the best of all these different duffels? I would say that the Mountain Hardwear, it just the stitching is a little bit better, and the way they do the backpack straps are a little bit better, but I don't like the fact that they don't have handles like the Rab and the base camp North Face duffel here. So I like the kind of these middle straps that are just easy to use when you're lugging around the airport. One of the things that was maybe a downside of the large Camp 4 duffel 95-liter was that you had to have these backpack straps, which are much better than the backpack straps on the North Face and the Rab, but you had to have them. Now what was quite nice was this end piece on the Camp 4 duffel, but what's cool, one thing that's cool but also a downside of it is that it collapses into itself, so it has a pocket that you can put it into this size here, whereas with the base camp duffel, you have to carry a separate thing. So I think I have it on the top here somewhere, and you pack it in that. So that's just like one more thing to carry. It's not a big deal either way, and you know, you don't have to carry that with you. You could just leave that at home if you're not going to pack it up into another bag. I would also say while we didn't get any rain in Kilimanjaro, I would say that this is probably not as water resistant. The Camp 4 duffel is probably not as water resistant as the Base Camp duffel by North Face. So the Base Camp duffel has a really thick, and it's also a bit heavier than the other duffels. Has a really thick lining, which seems very water resistant. Now, none of these are waterproof because the water can come through the zippers, but I would say all the zippers are pretty heavy duty. Maybe the heaviest duty one is the North Face, but the Rab and the North Face are very similar in their design. So the Rab Kitbag duffel. I would say with the Rab Kitbag duffel, the bottom, I would say I wanted it to be more heavy duty than it is, and it's not super heavy duty. So that was a downside for me, and I would say it's not as thick as the ripstop denier on the North Face. So I don't think there's a huge difference in the carrying capacity. I originally ordered the Rab because its dimensions as measured are airplane friendly, that they are its official dimensions are exactly 62. Patagonia used to make a duffel, their black hole duffel of 120 liters, which had this basically a same length, width, height of 62 inches, which will get you on an airplane. I don't know what the centimeter equivalent is, but they're the same thing. That is the maximum checked bag limits. And I just think that it's probably not a big deal. I think from what I've read, a lot of people do get these extra large, not the double X large, but the extra large on the planes as checked bags and without overage fees. And when I measured it, the way it's packed now, it's actually less than 62. And I think another way of thinking of it is that it's supposedly an 18 diameter circle cylinder. But if you say it's 18 plus 18 plus, I think 32, which is the length, then it comes to 66. But if you're thinking about a circle length, width, height, you know, the width and the height is actually the circumference of the circle divided by 2. So if you think of like a rectangle, length and width, right? That's the circumference of the rectangle divided by 2. Well, I think that's the same thing. And so if you do that calculation, then it's actually 60 inches length, width, height, and it should be below the baggage limits for the U.S. Airlines and I think most global airlines. So overall, I would say, and these are all basically in the same price range. The Mountain Hardwear, the Rab, the North Face. You know, not having traveled with the North Face, yes, or the Rab, I would say probably the extra large North Face duffel is probably the most bulletproof of them. It's got the least downsides. You know, Mountain Hardwear also has an Expedition duffel, which is about $100 more, or even $140 more for their 140 liter size, which I think also would fit within the baggage limits, although it's kind of close of a checked bag. But it's in a different price class. So you could basically get one of those or two of these almost. So these, the North Face duffel I think was a $169 retail, and I'm sure you can get it on sale at one of the outdoor outfitters. But the other thing that's nice about the North Face duffel is it's always in stock. The Rab, I think, is probably going to go out of stock fairly soon. You won't be able to buy a new one. I was only able to find like one retailer in the U.S. That still had them, and it seems like they have a ton of them. But they'll run out, and but I didn't find it in like the REIs in the back countries of the world, whereas you can find this in basically any outdoor outfitter almost will carry the North Face Duffel series. And the Mountain Hardwear is also, Camp 4 Duffel is also pretty easy to buy in the US. So I don't think this is gonna go out of stock. I don't think the North Face Base Camp Duffel is gonna go out of stock, but this Rab one, if you want it, you better move on it. So we'll have Amazon affiliate links in the description about all three. I think and if you order it, it'll be no extra cost to you, but it does help out the channel. I think the other thing that all these bags have is they have kind of a top zipper portion where you can put extra stuff in it. So I think that's a nice feature, but it doesn't add a lot of weight or it doesn't take up a lot of room. Mostly really what I think you're looking for in one of these things is a big open space and then just heavy duty and water resistance. And in terms of heavy duty and water resistance, I think that the North Face Base Camp Duffel, from what I feel, seems like the best way to go. Let me know what you think in your comments. But like I said, I don't think you can go wrong really with any of these. And this Camp 4 Duffel did me great service. And in some ways, its build quality is better than both of these. So it's a close call. And I don't know if there's a right answer. But it maybe depends on your preferences, and let me know your experiences with all these in the comments. Subscribe. All right, there's one final thing I want to talk about, and that's the backpacks. I don't think I have talked about them yet about Aconcagua. So if you're just watching this for the Duffels, then you probably want to switch off here. But the backpack that I'm using is actually packed, so I'm not going to get it out, but it's an AMG 105 from Mountain Hardwear. It is a very sturdy backpack. I think the key thing that you want to think about is you want to have a backpack that you can put your whole sleeping kit in. That is easily without having to pack it tightly. So it's better to go too big than too small for this. And you're gonna take this on the upper mountain. Yes, you'll have a little bit extra weight because you have a little bit extra big backpack. But trust me, when I've been camping with a 65-liter backpack, that is really tough to have all of your stuff on the outside. You have to put your bedroll on the outside. Maybe you have to put your tent on the outside. It's awkward. It's not good on your back. So I would recommend getting a big backpack. So if you're a 5'3" lady, maybe you can get away with 75 liters if you've got a down sleeping bag. But if you've got a synthetic sleeping bag, you want to have one big enough that you can put your synthetic sleeping bag in a stuff sack on there. And then the other piece of luggage would be maybe your carry-on bag. So typically your 75 to 105 liter or maybe more Expedition backpack is going to be too big as a carry-on. So you might want to have a carry-on bag for the cabin. Maybe you'll put a few days worth of clothes in there. Maybe you have your laptop or whatever. Typically the logistics companies, which either your guides are using or you're going through one of the local logistic companies. So like for instance, Inca or Grajales, they do the logistics for a lot of other guides, such as Mountain Madness would do their logistics through one of the local companies. They're going to let you check stuff at their local headquarters. So for Grajales, they'll let you check it in Penitentes, where their headquarters is. And so you'll want to have a bag that you leave with them, that it has your Mendoza clothes and your traveling clothes. Maybe it's got your laptop, and you'll want to have some type of bag for that. The other types of bags that I'm going to recommend that you have is a lot of compression sacks and a lot of dry bags. So in case it does rain, you actually want to pack your backpack in a dry bag. It'd be better than a trash bag. You can get away with a trash bag, but we're gonna have links in the description to very inexpensive dry bags and compression sacks you buy in bulk. And those are just really helpful in organizing your pack for when you're climbing up the mountain, and also if you're organizing your duffel bag so you can sort through it quickly at night, and also keeps things dry so you have that extra layer in case it does get quite wet on the mules or whatever, or on the porters if you use a porter. All right, bye-bye.